Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next hour plus, going through some of the reasons we have as to why you would want to partner with Premier Marketing and the programs that they offer. We're entering into a time of a lot of discussion in the Medicare world for 2022 already, but we all have bills to pay through the end of the year. We all have people we're going to address with different needs throughout that time period. We wanted to make certain that you had an idea of the programs that are available through our organization and a means to access them, contact points that you can use in order to appeal to the subject matter expert in the different areas, because there's just a whole lot out there, and sometimes we're not experts in everything that we do. So we're going to go through things with a bit of a rush, but we're also going to have some detail in there for you. Today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with the follow-up that we'll send from some of the material that we reference, will be, and pardon me for just a moment, will be sent to everyone who expressed interest in today's presentation. You'll notice in the software package, there's a section for both questions and chat. Logic says we use the questions section for questions, and we will. And I ask that you put your information in there. You'll find that we do cover a lot of the questions through the course of the presentation, but we will stop periodically throughout and make certain that we are able to answer any questions you have and respond to any inquiries that you have as well. We'll start with a little bit of level set as to who Premier Marketing is. And we're a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that is part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler working through independent insurance agents and agencies such as yourself, offering contracts at the highest possible commission levels with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We do so through a full portfolio, hence the reason for today's presentation, where we cover the basics in Medicare with the Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement programs and the standalone prescription drug plans. And we'll go through those in a little detail in a moment. We also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, final expense life insurance, pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, disability income, and the ancillary benefits that are in many cases necessary to fill out the package of coverage that folks have for specific needs. We do so with a mindset that many people on this call will probably be from the Medicare world, and we hear of the aging of the baby boomers, the Silver Tsunami, 1 every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus people a day that are turning 65. And you'll notice from the data from the U.S. Census Bureau that, hey, it's a burgeoning market, near exponential growth. But if you're looking at it through the lens of just age, you're missing part of it, because there are people now that are past the age of 65, eligible for a Medicare and not accessing all of the benefits that they're eligible for, and they'll come on later or not. But it's more than offset by the folks that are under the age of 65 and accessing Medicare because of medical disability, 15% of that population. So we want to make certain that we have a portfolio of programs that can address a total package of needs. So the Medicare population, 2/3 of them have 3+ chronic conditions and some challenges with income and assets. And sometimes that jives with some of the other areas that we'll discuss. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's helpful then, because we then can look at and realize that we have a population that has choices. When someone comes on Medicare, they can decline the optional Part B if they wanted to and self-insure for the doctor benefits. Thankfully, many don't. Some will self-insure for what traditional Medicare doesn't cover and pick up a plan for their prescription drugs. Some might cover the shortfall with a standardized, modernized Medicare supplement. Some might go for the, as American pickers say, the bundle, the Medicare Advantage plans that wrap things together. In each of these areas, we want to have the choices with the portfolio that pertains to this population and how they may have needs in other areas as well, because we're seeing a pretty even split when people first come on Medicare. If it's age in, or the people that are coming in late to Medicare, you got kind of an even split with their base coverages with Medicare Advantage and Med Sup. Sometimes that choice will tell us as to what other programs may be necessary and how they're able to afford them. A lot of our decisions in life are dictated by our wallets and many times, and so we want to be prepared for that eventuality. In original Medicare, that might include people that are dual beneficiaries, Medicare, Medicaid, folks that are accessing through the VA, some folks with retirement benefits, and it may be the portion that's self-insured. So having choices across the board can really help us address the needs of our prospects and clients, but also establish us as a full service agent so they don't look for help elsewhere. They don't respond to Joe Namath in his commercials or the 995 plan or whatever it happens to be, the influencers on television. And we do have an acronym guide that will be sent to you as part of the presentation, a link to this. It's a very large database, so we have to use a link. But it's a way for you to translate the language that is used. And we find that every industry has their own jargon. We become comfortable with the use of acronyms. We got to be careful how we do that to make certain that the folks understand what we're saying. And when we look at the different portions of the insurance world, well, every subset has their acronyms too. So we want to make certain that we're communicating properly. And we do so because even though we're in a lock-in period, so to speak, at present, we find with data from Kaiser Family Foundation that the majority of Medicare beneficiaries don't compare their coverages annually. And that's where us as a role of an independent agent is so very important, because we have the means to speak to these people year round and address not just their Medicare base medical needs or coverages they're in, but other programs, because we're talking to a population in many cases that don't understand what's going on in that section. And even though they have a challenge with understanding the program, they aren't even using the information that's out there provided by the government. So the Medicare Plan Finder is a very nice tool that a lot of folks don't use, and we then need to supplement it with other programs like we'll discuss later to get that information out to them. And taking this beyond just the Medicare world, it's a big old world that we live in out there. And the last year and a half has really brought to mind to people the need for life insurance, the need for long-term care, the need to share information about programs that can help them with their financial security. So life insurance and annuity products. So it all ties together, and it's been highlighted by the pandemic we've all been dealing with for the last year and a half. And we want to make certain that we're able to deliver the information folks need in either a face-to-face situation or be able to actually pivot and get them the information they need. There's a number of agents out there that have gone virtual and are not going back to face-to-face. And part of that, I think, might be influenced by the type of programs that you are presenting and the ability to get them that information. So we want to make certain that we're able to deliver upon that and do so in a fashion that is according to the will of the folks we're working with, because we've trained them to do it. Last year and a half, I've had 10 appointments with a particular doctor over that time period. It wasn't until the last appointment with him that I actually saw him face to face. So physicians are training people to do some things virtually. Hospitals are, dentists are. Faith-based organizations held their services online, and some are continuing to do so. And what we're doing there is training a population to utilize electronic services. This may not be something new for folks that are younger, but depending upon the area of the demographic that we're approaching with people, sometimes this is a necessity, and we want to make certain that we have the tools there for you to communicate properly. And one thing to keep in mind, and the basis for a lot of today's discussion, is the fact that the more product you as an agent have in a house, the higher your customer retention. Your persistency is higher. So the more product you have, the less likely someone is going to go someplace else. And you have that opportunity because the products don't have to be from the same company. Obviously, they're not the same product. They just have to be from the same agent, and that's you. And we want to make certain that we help in that regard. So today, we've expanded upon a usual presentation, and that's why this one's going to be a little bit longer, but it gives us an opportunity to talk about products across the board. And we've assembled a panel of subject matter experts in the different areas to help us with that discussion. So you have in the final expense arena, Yanni Laborde. You have in life insurance, Ms. Kelly Reardon. You have in annuities, Shay Treptow. And you have Katie Novotny for long-term, short-term care, and disability income. And through the course of the presentation, we're going to draw upon their expertise to help highlight the opportunities that you have as we go along. When we speak of it in the Medicare world and in the ancillary world, you're stuck with me. But in the Medicare Advantage arena, we have the national carriers available to you through our organization and many of the strong regionals that can make a difference for you in your market. This is especially pertinent now because we are receiving 2022 benefits. It's something to be familiar with. It's something to use in your prospecting planning. But you need to be aware of what's going to be the leader in your area so you can perform as well as possible. And we have that information on an ongoing basis, an updated basis, and it's available on our website as an agent with access to the behind the wall type of presentation, because we can't have the public seeing it until the beginning of October. That same strategy carries over into the Medicare Supplement world, where we have a robust portfolio of products, and we want to make certain that the tools that we have support that initiative along with the standalone Part D drug programs. And so we have some really wonderful software that's available without cost to you as an agent. But the philosophy is, how many of these carriers am I going to contract with? What all do I need to do to be prepared to present them? And many of you that are already active in the world of Medicare Advantage and MedSup, you realize the details that come into play. Some require certification, some don't. When we speak about the ancillary products, we're looking at an area where we're filling holes in whatever base coverages there are. So in each of these categories, you have the leaders in that field available to you through our organization. So you're able to add to dental, vision, hearing programs. I read on an article today where Bernie Sanders is happy because they think they may be able to expand some of the benefits in Medicare for that arena. However, all of us know that you don't know what you need many times until you try to access it or prepare for it. So we want to make certain that in each of these categories, you have them to offer additional programs, but also to be the most important of satisfying the needs in those areas. So the pieces that come into play there can be very valuable to you because they create another marketing opportunity, another income stream for you. And hey, we even have a telehealth benefit that we rolled out a couple of months ago called MD Live. So part of what you'll see in the follow-up is links to our video library that speaks to many of these programs, because I'm already talking too much and my associates are probably going, shut up, John, get to the next section. Well, part of what we want to do is take that Medicare component and use some of the guidelines the government puts out to us, the information that's supplied to the population, and build on it. This document is sent to every Medicare recipient in October, be it physically mailed to them or sent to them electronically, depending upon how a person opts into the system and their profile on Medicare.gov. How many people read it? Well, for those of you where you have your own insurance programs, how familiar are you with your own? Heck, we sell this stuff and half the time we don't know what all we have. So some folks will get that electronically. Some will actually pull it off on an app off of a couple of different sources. So you can, the folks that are more computer literate can do that, and they can find out what is and what isn't covered. But we spend a lot of time on page 49 because it goes through and it helps illustrate and dispel some of the myths that are out there as to what Medicare does and doesn't cover. And this gives us the opportunity to speak to other programs. Sometimes it requires a second appointment, depending upon the stipulations that are put onto us by MIPA and the scope of appointment. But sometimes that's a very useful tool for us, because if we share that piece and go through the different opportunities we have on it, we're opening the discussion to other programs. And with some of the programs, you're going to want prep time anyway. So it gives us an opportunity to go in there, address the needs that are espoused initially, and then set up follow-up appointments in many circumstances for many of the other programs that we'll discuss. And one of the software programs that's available to you as a contracted agent through Premier is Medicare Center. And this is one of the tools that's available in there that helps you quote other programs and cross-sell utilizing the software. It is a program where you can go into a household and pick the basic coverage someone already has if they're not going to move off of it, but you can then use it to illustrate the need for a hospital indemnity program or add on dental coverage, because you'll be able to see what all that program does and doesn't cover in that circumstance. So even if a person doesn't budge off of the basic programs that they have in play, we still have an opportunity to fulfill the needs of our customers. And it's important to note that if you're doing that and the other agent isn't, you may get that business down the road as well. There are, of course, other simple forms that you can use to help identify other needs. This is a very simple piece that we can use to find out, okay, what do you have? What do you don't? What are you interested in? What do I need to follow up with? And it's basic stuff. It doesn't have to be brain surgery. Back in the mid 80s, when I worked for Prudential, they came out with a needs analysis piece on paper that was 15 pages long. I got halfway through it half the time. I was asleep. That was a half an hour before the appointment was kind of going, oh my God, my eyes are rolling back in my head. Sometimes it's not brain surgery, it's just asking a question. Because like Columbo says in Peter Falk's great TV series from a long time ago, it gives you the opportunity to do the Columbo close. You finish up your basic information, fulfill that need for your prospecting client. And as you're ready to walk out the door, oh, hey, just one more thing. Where do you have CDs? Where are your annuities? Have you planned for long-term care? Do you have a legacy you want to establish or debts you need to cover with life insurance? So whatever you use as your closing line, as you're walking out the door, it's another way to basically solicit that information that's necessary to go beyond the Medicare section that we cover so very often for you. And you have tools put out there by the carriers as well that can help you cross-sell. So all the carriers are kicking out some wonderful software that if you're basically taking an application in one area, you can add other coverages very simply at that same time, should they be appropriate through the scope of appointment. So some great tools that are available to you through the different carriers. And this is just a sampling because most of them have them, but we want to make certain that once you establish your portfolio of products, you're also prepared with the tools, comfort as to what the programs from the carriers offer in order to make certain that your presentations are effective as well. So as we roll into the section, finally, John is going to shut up for a moment there. Make this available, pardon me. And Katie, if you would unmute yourself, I muted us. Wait a minute, here we go. We will turn over to, there you go, sorry.
Thanks, John.
Katie, and ask her to give us some guidance into her world of long-term, short-term LTC hybrid and disability income programs. So, Katie, here's a portfolio of products that are available in your world. Can you tell us a little bit about these programs and the carriers that are available to us?
Sure. So like John was saying, cross-selling opportunities are just coming up left and right. And I think that right now, specifically after the pandemic, we are really seeing the need for people to plan. And also the bigger need is for agents to be addressing the issues. There's a lot of questions out there due to the media about going into a nursing home or any type of facility and leaving someone's home. So we actually have 3 different types of long-term care solutions. And we've really kind of broadened our opportunity, if you will, because with each one, there's a different audience. And do please feel free to go out to our website. And I know that John had a piece up right before here showing a little bit about it. We also have some target audience pieces, which will come out as a follow-up to this. But specifically traditional long-term care, this has been something that has been out there for years. We have everything from 10 pays. We have single premium options, and we have lifetime benefits back. This is going to pay a traditional tax-qualified long-term care benefit, meaning that we could provide care in a nursing home, assisted living, adult daycares, Alzheimer's units, but it will also include the home care. It will also include home modification. A lot of reasons why people are looking at this is not for the facility side, but truly to be able to have the ability to stay at home. The next ones are going to be what we call hybrids, combo products, alternative methods. It doesn't matter. All it is it means that it's asset-based. These products are filed as a 7702B long-term care policy, but on a life or annuity chassis. So what we're seeing here is you're going to see a variety of products which will accept qualified and non-qualified fund 1035s, as well as continuous pay products. These are all fantastic in the sense that they have come up and they address the objections of traditional long-term care. 2 common things with traditional long-term care is, one, there can be rate increases, which is true. Traditional long-term care is filed as a health insurance product. The other one is going to be, if I purchase long-term care, what if I pass away and never use it? So it's the use it or lose it argument. With the hybrid type products, we have lock-in rate guarantees because of their filings on the annuity or life chassis. And on top of that, there is a guarantee that you will not lose the money in which you're purchasing, or the money which you're paying in. And so it will purchase either a long-term care fund or some form of death benefit or asset transfer upon death. The other one is going to be short-term care. Short-term care is a fantastic product to go back to any declines that you've had in the past. These products will range from an issue age of 35 to 89. So we also have here an older dynamic we can offer. Our traditional products do not offer coverage over age 80. So with our short-term care products, a lot of our over 65 clients think that they are fantastic. They are on a lower premium option. They have simplified underwriting. And truly, they will provide for some type of coverage. It is not going to be the comprehensive coverage that we have for long-term care, but we can do it that we will provide them some care. People that have not planned early enough. Like I said, we have complicated health histories. We can work with some premium thresholds a little more than we could on the other products. The other thing to note about these products are going to be that these can be home care only. We sell quite a few home care only products. As back to my previous statement, the focus around facility or the avoidance of a facility is prominent, regardless of who we're speaking to today. So these products will address the home care only options. The last one listed is our disability. Disability insurance, of course, as everyone knows, is simply a paycheck insurance. With everything that has gone on, and I go back to the pandemic because I think that we've seen a lot of things and we've watched a lot of different insurance products be highlighted. Another one is going to be what happens. We have products that are accident and sickness based or simply accident. As you can see, we have 3 products there. The majority of our business would go to a Surety or Mutual of Omaha simply for one reason, and that's going to be because that's an individual product. Our Washington National product, however, will offer true group options. So if you're working with employers, that's a great way to get your foot in the door. Along with that, we have group long-term care as well. So if you have an employer-based audience that you're going to see, or maybe you regularly work with, and you'd like some additional information, please just let me know and I'm happy to help.
That's awesome, Katie. And I think it illustrates how we have products that are intertwined, and many of the circumstances, folks are really aware of long-term care if they've had to deal with somebody in their family that's gone into a nursing home or have encountered these circumstances. And obviously, it's less expensive the younger you have to pick up these programs. But it is one of the programs that I think that can illustrate what you mentioned, Katie, of some of the really hot programs, and that includes the True Freedom home care programs. And information will be sent as part of the follow-up. But could you give us a brief idea as to what this covers?
I sure can. So this one is, you'll notice that it'll look a little different. It's a nationwide home care program. This product is offered in all 50 states, which is unique. This is a home care based product. Basically, how this would work is there is a one question underwriting application. It is available to all ages, and like I said, in all 50 states. This is a prepaid home care product that you can offer. And the reason why we're really highlighting it is there's no better time to consider this product. Right now, we are offering a sales incentive that is going to go all the way through the end of August, with the possibility of earning an additional $4,000 just as a sales bonus. So we will absolutely send some information out on this. This product is a field issue product as well. So the great thing is that they can answer no to the questions on the, or to the one question on the application, which is simply, are you currently on claim? And a couple variants of that question. If they can do that, they have a product right in front of them.
So, Katie, does this take into account the ADLs that we see in traditional long-term care programs, or simpler?
No, it's actually a lot easier than that. It's simply if you feel that you need assistance. This will provide for paid coverage by an agency in which they have already set up in a network in all areas, but they will also have an option to have their care provided by a friend or neighbor. So all it would take is one simple call over to True Freedom, explaining what their needs are. If they are looking for a friend or neighbor, you would provide the information of that friend and neighbor, and they would work out a service contract from there. But no, there is no ADL language. This is as easy as a home care service plan. The way I would explain it to anyone is you are prepaying your home care hours up front at a discounted rate.
That's awesome. So many people want to stay at home as long as possible. So many families want to be able to provide that service. And we're already using an acronym here. Katie, I apologize for not speaking of activities of daily living for those that may not be as familiar with this part of the world as the others. But thank you for that. And you'll see that on the page 49 that I referenced earlier, long-term care has its own section in the book. So it's a great tool that we can use to set up that discussion. And as part of our visits with Medicare people, or for whatever other area of coverages that we're investigating, we have validation from a government documentation saying, hey, you think Medicare is going to cover long-term care? No. Let's look at page 49 and 50 in the book. So it also gives us an opportunity then to go into some of the other categories across the board, because many of the folks that are conscious about the need for covering themselves in long and short-term care situations or for disability, you can speak to some of the other benefits that can help them extend the dollars that are available in this area. And so that's part of the reason why we want to make certain that the carrier support is available for us to help explain this. And Katie, can you talk about mutual care? Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you can go back one slide, I think the importance of that slide is something that I regularly saw on a lot of marketing pieces, regardless of where they were authored, is the simple idea. So what I decided to do is, with this section, you can go out to your primary source. Maybe you're an annuity writer. Maybe you're a final expense writer. How can I go out and cross-sell? So what I did was I put in there our top products that we see our final expense producers or our annuity producers, where they are cross-selling and where they're seeing the most success. So I really specifically tried to go out there and go, here's your primary audience, and here's where we're seeing other people in your situation have the most success entering the LTC division.
That's awesome. And I think an important part is to be unafraid, unintimidated by asking that one question. in a lot of my goofy webinars, I put up a piece of the now politically incorrect Pepe Le Pew attempting to receive a little affection from Penelope, and you don't get kissed if you don't ask. So this is a great way, Katie, of giving us an idea of who we should be kissing, in a manner of speaking, in the different areas. And thank you for that. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the software the carriers have available?
Sure. This is a screenshot of one of my favorite softwares. This is the Mutual of Omaha software. This is provided for anyone to download via the link once we have a Mutual of Omaha contract. Maybe you've not done long-term care, but you work with us with Mutual of Omaha. We would happily share this link and initiate the download, as I feel like it's a great 101 piece. There are things on here that will allow you to kind of learn the product. Oftentimes when I do a 101 webinar or even a 101 call, what we will do is we will have this program along with a couple other quoting softwares simply to learn the lingo, an elimination period, monthly benefit. Knowing those type of things provide the confidence when you're going out to show this with the client. The other thing is you can take that right out with your iPad, or you can have it on your laptop, and you can utilize that with the client in order for them to customize the care that would most fit their needs.
Awesome. That's great. That, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, we need the software and some of the support programs in order to go through and properly explain what we're offering as well. And this looks, one of the reasons we included it is it looks nice and thorough, but it also looks fairly simple to use. Tell us a little bit about fact finding.
Sure. First and foremost is most people will know long-term care is they don't have any kind of simplified issue on a traditional or hybrid product. When I say that, I mean that there is vigorous underwriting, usually including medical records, some form of an interview, and a cognitive screen. Those are kind of the starting points of long-term care. So what we have done is we've created a couple pre-qualifications or fact-finding forms, and we have placed them on our website. If you have not been out to our new website, please feel free to go out there and check out all the information. These can be found there, or you can always just shoot us an email or give us a call. We're happy to send them. We have them on a traditional and hybrid chassis along with a short-term care chassis, and then we have a third one that's going to simply address critical illness, business overhead expense, and disability products. So with this allows us to take the information. We can from there go to our underwriting guides or maybe an underwriting team saying, based on this information, what are our best shots? The last thing we want to do from our side of the house is send you out there to fail. And this will allow us that one tool that we have insight of what we're going to run into on an underwriting side. We can't guarantee insurability based on, we all know that sometimes the underwriters will find stuff in medical records or something of that nature. However, a prescription drug list and just a simplified version of someone's health history can often point us in the right direction of where the opportunity may be for that person's long-term care.
Awesome. So it's unlike property and casualty or some other areas, when we speak to these people, to put it in DuBois vernacular, and we want the lights on in the house, but the house can't be on fire. So this helps to work through that process, correct?
You got it. That's exactly it. And those can be found. Like I said, you are always welcome to go out to our website, and they will be under the resource center on the LTC section. So you can find all three. If you're not sure which one to use, or maybe you're not sure exactly, and I know you can see the top of this one that says monthly benefit duration. All we ask is that give us a call if you want to talk about it, or if you just want to take an attempt at filling it out. Primarily what we're looking for is the client information to find the first step in this process. And from there, we can always give you a call and work on case design together.
Awesome. And I'll put a link on the follow-up that will take you directly to, as an agent, directly to the resource portion on our website. There's a couple questions that popped up that I addressed a number of them through the chat or through the question section, but one asked how many people actually self-insure by not electing Part B and self-pay. Very few, very small percentage, but it's something that occasionally you run into. I will tell you from personal experience, having thousands of appointments with Medicare beneficiaries, literally, that I've run across it maybe half a dozen times. So you don't see it a lot, but it is a choice. And some people will actually not intend to not pick it up and inadvertently decline it. And so you'll run into that circumstance as much as having people that don't really intend to take the coverage. The slides in the presentation will be available to everybody. And there is a question here that speaks to, are there any programs, plans that can be offered to over 65 who are still working, postpone Part B for individual or group? And Florentina, there are a number of programs out there that can help in that area. Some of them are fee-for-service programs in the health arena, or for some of those ancillary products, it is not a requirement to have the Medicare underlying coverages. It's a fee-for-service program. Some of the dental programs start for children and work through it. So there are a number of them that can be helpful in that arena for you. And in the other areas, there are group coverages as well. If you're able to work with employers, and as Katie mentioned, the disability programs, long and short-term care, are a staple in many of the benefit packages, regardless of the age and how that works. Depending upon an age, a particular person's age, we have to make certain that we can address that. How does the nationwide home health care work with Medicare on these enhanced benefits? Peter, I'm going to have to do some homework on nationwide home health care because I am not versed enough in that to be able to give you an answer today. So it's a question of, I don't know. I'm going to find out for you. And then we'll consult with people on the panel as well, individually afterwards, to make certain of it. Are there any stats regarding people who refuse Part B and are self-insuring? Yeah, there are, Alec, and I will send a link on there on the follow-up as well that will give you an idea as to percentages based off of different profiles that are kicked out there by different government entities and private organizations that track that. So, Katie, this is the marketing piece that you mentioned for True
Sure.
Freedom.
Sure. So in talking about the nationwide home care, the one thing I can tell you is this is a service contract. So when you're asking about the interminglings of other insurance products, this is going to be standalone. While you can have coordination on their side, as for True Freedom, this is a private service contract. So if someone wanted to have this, regardless of age, I know right now I'm working on a case. She's 92 years old. So this is just something that she wanted to know that she could have some additional care if she would need it. As I said prior, no better time to look at this product as it is available all ages, all states, and the huge bonus opportunities. First-time writers have the capability of having over $4,000 in additional bonuses. When I'm looking at application 10 and 15 for an additional $700 for one application, oftentimes I get the question of, well, what do these premiums look like? The premiums on these monthly premium are as low as $95 a month, all the way up to $395. So that would give you kind of an estimate of where we are on this. We are seeing quite a few people hit their 5, and we just had one agent hit his 10 application mark. I can't tell you the excitement that there is from our side, nonetheless, when I get to call the agent and let him know that the additional bonus structures are being paid out, because they are paid out at the same time as the commissions.
That's awesome. That's all part of a pre-planning, not only for the client, but for a person in their agency as well. So thank you, Katie. As we roll
Thanks,
through, I'm
John.
going to check questions ahead of time for this. Nope, we got them covered. And sorry, Katie, I talked over you again. Fourth cup of coffee visiting with us. So now we have Kelly Reardon that can give us a little bit of information about the life insurance, the traditional life insurance portfolio. And I'm probably misspeaking in describing it that way, but Kelly, we've got a couple of sections on here with the single premium life and term life programs that are available through our organization. More types to follow, but can you tell us a little bit about some of the differences between these two type of programs and how they may be applicable to our audience? And I apologize because I think I have you muted. You can unmute yourself as well. There we go.
All right, thanks, John.
You bet.
Yes, definitely. Premier has a full portfolio of traditional life products as well as final expense products. As John said, my specialty is these traditional products. So we'll start with the single premium life that you see on the left side of the slide there. That is just what it says. It is a single premium life insurance policy. Depends on the carrier, but some are on a whole life chassis, some are on a UL chassis. For the most part, the ones we deal with primarily are more simplified, and they are on a whole life chassis. We do have options that will take qualified funds as well as non-qualified funds. So we do have some options, especially for your clients that are over 65 if you're dealing in the Medicare market and they've got that annuity that they're never going to annuitize, or they've just got some what we like to call never money that they're never going to use. They just intend to pass it on to the next generation. We can take those funds and increase the amount of the gift that they're able to pass on to their loved ones with one of these single pay type products. Term life is just that. It is term. It is a set premium and a level death benefit for the length of the contract, be it 10 years or 40 years. And yes, we do have carriers that will write a 40-year term. So there are plenty of options for that. No real limits on the death benefit for those term life plans, just what your client qualifies for within the guidelines of income replacement.
Awesome.
Some of those
question
carriers.
for you, Kelly.
Oh,
what's the difference
yeah.
between qualified and non-qualified monies that you referenced?
Oh, John. I always have to stop and think this through because it's backwards. Qualified money means that it is money that has not been taxed. So you have not paid tax on it yet. So annuities would be a good example of qualified funds, or IRAs or 401k accounts. Your non-qualified funds, those are funds that you've already paid taxes on. So cash in your bank account, cash value in a life insurance policy, those types of things. So basically anything that you've already paid taxes to the government on, that is what would be considered non-qualified funds. Anything you have not paid taxes on is considered qualified.
Thank you.
It's backwards to me, so I have to think through it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about indexed universal life and guaranteed universal, GULs.
Yes. So the main differences here are your guaranteed universal life. We'll start with that. We like to call them a permanent term because really that is what they are designed to do. They are designed to have a level premium and a level death benefit for the life of the contract, however long your client wishes that to be, whether it be to age 95, 100, or even to 121. As long as they pay their premium, that premium's going to stay level, that death benefit's going to stay level. It's a very nice alternative to term, especially in your older folks. If you've got some older folks, I know we've had some cases for some 70-year-olds that had just taken out a 30-year mortgage. Well, a 70-year-old can't get a 30-year term. But we can structure a guaranteed universal life to look like that 30-year term and give them that level premium and level death benefit for the time they need. Some of those plans also include not true long-term care. It is an acceleration of their death benefit for chronic, critical, and terminal illness that can be used in those events. In the event that they have a qualifying event, which for chronic illness would mean 2 of 6 ADLs, again, those activities of daily living, such as feeding, dressing, toileting, transferring those types of activities. If they're not able to do those, two of those, and the doctor deems that to be permanent, that person can use a portion of their life insurance death benefit while they are still alive. It's a great alternative to someone that might not qualify for long-term care because, you know, as Katie said, it is pretty vigorous underwriting for long-term care. Not saying that life insurance underwriting can't be vigorous, but they do underwrite differently for these types of plans with those benefits just because it is life insurance first. Indexed universal life is, I like to call it the whole life equivalent to on a universal life. So it is going to be a product that will build cash value. It can be what we call overfunded. So a client can put in as much premium as their death benefit would allow to build up cash growth to, say, supplement retirement, help pay for their children's college. Maybe they want to just put that money aside to buy a new car. They can overfund this type of policy, and it's going to build cash value for them that they can draw from. We do see a lot of this as retirement supplement.
Awesome. So it's
again,
a program that's available for them to overfund to a degree that they can pull out for different reasons. Do they do a withdrawal or a loan, or how do they best handle it?
Can be either. Most of the time we see those come out as loans. So it is a loan against the death benefit. The client can either choose to pay that loan back, which basically then becomes like a bank on yourself. Be your own banker. Instead of borrowing money from the bank, you're borrowing that money from yourself, and then you can pay it back to yourself by putting it back into the life insurance plan. If you choose not to pay it back, that's the client's option as well. It just will continue to, it would decrease the death benefit then at the time of death with the outstanding amounts that would on interest.
Awesome. So people are putting the extra money in there so it grows tax deferred or tax free, or what's the proper terminology there?
Well, under today's laws, it is tax free because it is a life insurance policy. And as long as that life insurance policy is kept in force, that income that they pull from that or the cash value that they pull from that would be tax free. Now I say that, and that has to also mean that it is not overfunded to the point where that policy becomes a modified endowment contract. And what that means is we don't want that policy to MEC, meaning anything that the client pulls out over what they have put into the policy would be taxable, because then that creates a taxable event for the client. Not only are they going to have to pay tax on what they've pulled out, they have to report that on their taxes. It may bump them into a different income bracket, and it just kind of creates a big mess. So we do try to avoid that at all possible. A lot of times, if your clients are dumping a large sum of money in on the front end of the policy, that is unavoidable sometimes. But
So like a 1035 exchange with funds out of a different policy can MEC a program. Okay. One of the questions that come up, Kelly, is when you, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking over you, but one of the audience mentioned, do we have a guarantee universal life policy for a person right up at the top of the age bracket at age 70 if they have a 30-year mortgage? If you can demonstrate the need, does that make a difference as to what's available?
No, we have guaranteed universal life companies that we can write to where that client is up to age 80. And so as long as that person's income at age 70 warrants the amount of the death benefit. So most of the time at age 70, they're going to be allowed anywhere between 5 to 8 times their income in a life insurance death benefit. So as long as that need is met, is shown, then they would qualify for whatever that death benefit would be. So let's say their annual income is $25,000, and the minimum they can have is 5 times their income. So they could have a $125,000 policy.
Awesome. So you max out based on Social Security income or other investment income, basically.
Correct.
Awesome.
Or if they're still working, most of the time you're going to find that if somebody's got a 30-year mortgage, they're probably still working.
Yep. The joys of the modern world. When we speak of
Exactly.
whole life and second to die policies, what are some of the differences here, and how do they fit into a need structure?
So whole life is just that. It is life insurance for your whole life. It is sometimes a participating whole life, which is a plan that would pay dividends, which would build cash value, or non-participating, which would, of course, then not build cash value. It is fixed, so if your premium is $50, you're only going to ever be able to pay $50 into that plan, and your death benefit's not going to change either. It is a lot of times considered to be the most expensive insurance on the market, but we see a lot of this for children, young children, because you can guarantee their insurability when they're young, and still allow them to build cash value. Some of your older clients probably still like whole life because that's what they are used to, and the term universal life scares them because there were a time when universal life products were sold with the promise of very high returns, and we all kind of know what happens. Interest rates fell, those plans kind of imploded, and clients were either left with very little in their policies, or they were left having to pay a lot of money to keep them afloat. The guaranteed universal life plans are the alternative to that, and they are not meant to be cash building vehicles like we discussed. So whole life and IUL are going to be your cash building vehicles.
Awesome. Second to die, the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, second to die insures 2 lives. So, on a traditional life insurance policy, there's typically one insured. So when that insured passes away, the death benefit is paid out to the beneficiary. A second to die policy, that policy is not going to pay out until both insureds have passed away. So we'll see this a lot of times in estate planning, where the spouses don't need to leave a benefit to the other spouse, but they want to leave that to their children. So they'll do a second to die policy, and then those proceeds from that policy will pay out after both have been deceased. It does, on a second to die, it will combine and make a joint age. So, sometimes that's beneficial because if you've got, we'll use myself as an example. My husband is 8 years older than I am. So we could combine our age and we would get an age lower than his, but a little bit older than me. And it would be underwritten at that age. Also can be good for clients who maybe have a spouse that isn't insurable. They've got some medical conditions that make them uninsurable. You can do a second to die policy, and that one person on that can be not insurable, and it can still be underwritten, and because it doesn't pay out until both have passed away.
Awesome. I think this would be particularly pertinent in areas where, like, a bunch of us are Nebraskans. In an area with unlimited marital transfer, you have to worry about, farm ground or type of investments that are subject to capital increases. And this seems logical that would be an avenue to take to protect.
Right. And like I said, it's, definitely a very good vehicle for those situations where, like the farmland, well, I want to leave X amount of dollars to this child to take over the farmland, but it doesn't need to pay out until both of us are gone. So they can list that child or, even children multiple on the policy as the beneficiaries, and it takes that headache, or so to say, off the surviving spouse, because it's already in that life insurance policy that's in force until the second person passes away. Those proceeds aren't going to pay out.
Awesome. Thank you. When we speak of how much does someone need, we hear in the industry a lot of 10 times income, but sometimes that's not a true parameter. A life insurance need calculator, what is this?
So a life insurance need calculator will just calculate what you actually need. So as you go through that form there, you just list, what are your immediate needs going to be? What is your funeral expense do you anticipate it being? What medical costs do you have? Do you have children that are at home that you still need to put through college? Do you have, how much do you have for an emergency fund, or what do you need? Do you still have children that are in childcare? All of those things. And then you just kind of follow through there, and it will calculate out how much life insurance you actually need. And I strongly encourage you to do this with your clients, because we get calls every day. Oh, I just think that they need $100,000. Guys, I'm telling you, I do this every single day. And until I sat down and did this for myself, it was a few years ago when my kids were still in high school, I thought, I probably need $250,000 in coverage. That probably would be good. When I sat down and did this, I was astonished. I needed over $1 million in coverage. And I didn't think that I needed that much until I actually did this. So I really encourage you to do that with your clients, because it is very eye-opening.
And I want to thank you, Kelly, because you illustrated a point in each of these areas that is a very functional piece on training ourselves, and that's doing it on yourself. Your own personage may be your best first client, in a manner of speaking.
Exactly. And if you are new to life insurance, if you've never sold it, I encourage you also, take out a policy on yourself. There is nothing that speaks higher to a client than you being able to say, I have this coverage on myself personally. I recommend this because I have this on myself.
That's awesome.
I can tell agents every day about a whole life carrier that I have personal ties to, because my parents took out a policy on me with that carrier when I was a child. I still have that policy. I'm not a child anymore, but I still have that policy.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians.
So nothing will speak higher to your clients than you being able to give them personal experience.
Awesome. So here's a way that we can get that information to them.
Exactly. This life quote, a quick quote request, just kind of a quick little form to fill out. It doesn't have a lot of health information. We do have a form that does cover some of that, but just who you are, who your client is, how to get a hold of you should we have any questions, what their client's looking for as far as face amount, do they have a budget? Especially with those index plans, we like to work those off of a premium rather than a death benefit to get the client the best possible outcome for them. Do the clients use any kind of tobacco? Tobacco is more than just cigarettes these days. Is it chewing tobacco? Do they chew nicotine gum? Do they use any kind of aid to help them stop smoking, like the patch or gum or any medication? We do need to know that, because that does affect that underwriting. And then if you think you know your client well, how do you think that client should be rated as in terms of the quotes? Are they a standard client, which is your base? Are they a little bit above that? Or do they have some health issues and we think we're maybe going to get a substandard rating, which would be below standard? I like very much, when I'm helping agents with quotes, to operate under the run it standard. Let the underwriters work out the kinks and determine where they can place that client. And then you can either you can come back a hero. If you submit them at standard and they come back at preferred or better, even, you get to go back and say, hey, I can save you money, or I can get you more death benefit for the same amount of money. You don't have to sell that case twice. You get to sell it once.
Awesome. This is the piece that gives that additional information?
Yes, this life underwriting form, and I'm not sure, John, if the next slide shows the questions. Nope. Okay, so this is just the cover sheet, actually. The following pages, I believe there's 3 other pages that follow with this document, go into very similar to what you saw on the previous slide with the client information, what they're looking for as far as product, tobacco use. But then there is a section for health conditions, just check boxes, kind of very similar to what Katie showed in the long-term care slide, very similar to that. If there are health conditions there is the following page would ask for more detailed information on those situations, like cancer, diabetes, heart conditions, depression. Trying to think off the top of my head which ones are all there, but those are probably the main ones we see. Driving record. And then there is a blank page, lined page for any additional information that you feel would be pertinent to that. Medications are out there. I know there's like only a spot for 3 or 4 medications. If your client takes more than that, that last page is a great place to include that. We can take these forms and talk with our underwriters. I have about 15 carriers that participate in a program called X-Ray. We'll take this information from this document and send that out to those underwriters and get a written response back from them as to how they would rate your client. The greatest thing about this piece is that those carriers have zero idea who your client is, so it is not ever going to affect their insurability. Whereas if you submit applications to multiple carriers hoping for the best offer, any offers that come in show up in that client's MIB, which is their Medical Information Bureau. That does affect their ability to get insurance. So this is a very nice tool that we have available to you. Myself, my 2 teammates, Kathy and Melissa, are very well-versed in some underwriting conditions that we can take a look at these sometimes and say, yes, we know that this is how this carrier is going to look at it, but we always can send it out to those carriers to get those responses in writing as well.
Awesome. I neglected to speak to Katie about this, or is there any special certification or other things that need to go in play? And in long-term care, there are, so we'd want to discuss that with you as an agent to make certain that we meet all the eligibility requirements. Are there anything additional an agent has to do to offer life insurance?
Not anything different to offer life insurance in and of itself, with the exception of indexed universal life. Some carriers have specific training that they ask that you complete on their website. The majority of time, it's just reading through a document.
So fraud, waste, and abuse, what does it entail?
Honestly, I have never seen what they ask, but I've never had anybody that hasn't passed it either. So I think, if you have received your life license on your, with your health license, I think that stuff covers it. Our plans also do require, for the most part, E&O. So you do have to have errors and omissions insurance, and then anti-money laundering training.
There you go.
A lot of times you'll hear that AML. So those are typically the main trainings that you need. As far as our accelerated benefits, they are not true long-term care, so you do not have to have a long-term care certificate to offer them.
Awesome. I thank you. And we're going a little long, but I think it's been good discussions. let's roll into the arena of final expense and pre-need. We'll concentrate on final expense. And we've asked Yanni Laborde to come in and give us some overviews of this section of the world, the insurance world. And Yanni, would you tell us a little bit about the final expense portfolio that we have available? And pardon me. Yanni, we're having some difficulty with getting you this. There's an audio pin that I'm sending to you. I think that will help. But different areas of life insurance to address this need. I think you need to pop in that code there. I apologize. Can you catch that? Having a little technical difficulty. I apologize, folks, that we're into the presentation this way. That in the background is the theme song to Jeopardy with do 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 do. Not really. We're having some problems here getting Yanni audio. I apologize for that. So you'll have to unmute yourself there, Yanni, if you'll hit that little red phone. Bear with me. Yanni's last name is Laborde, and the extension, I'll pull that up in just a moment and get that to you, Alex, so bear with me. There we go.
John?
Nope.
Oh.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, so jumping into final expense. Typically, final expense is broken into 3 must-have products for your everyday independent agent. Starting first and foremost with simplified issue. Just a few health questions. Unlike with majority of the products that Kelly and her team work with, there's no medical examinations, there's no fluid testing or anything like that. It's just the health questions. All of the final expense products, of course, are going to be whole life. If the individuals that you're meeting with perhaps don't qualify due to health for whatever reason, for a simplified issue, we would then have the fallback of like a guaranteed issue, which is strictly based on that individual's sex as well as the age, and that's really what's going to determine pricing there. And then finally, simplified issue, single premium rather. And we have that through National Guardian Life and Unity, and that's really just for the individuals who want to stroke one check and sort of be done with it. That is a little bit different from pre-need, which does typically have a multi-pay option, which would be broken into monthly premiums over the course of 3, 5, 7, or 10 years. But with a pre-need plan, you're actually typically visiting directly with the funeral home or a representative of a specific funeral home, and picking out merchandising and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more involved than with your everyday sort of traditional life insurance product. The carriers, in terms of the product selection, one of the things that I always recommend agents take advantage of is we as marketers, myself, even to the life team, because again, once we have all the health information and all the different things that the client's trying to accomplish there, we can then determine and assist you in finding the right carrier for that individual case, and give you everything that you need to be successful in that. When it comes to which product and how to figure out, okay, what's going to be necessary for you to run run an accurate quote. I mean, the basic things that we'll need to accomplish that for you is, obviously their sex, their age, the amount of coverage just to start, and then of course height, weight, any medications, their health history. Looking back, no more than typically 5 years is all we need for a majority of our products to be able to push them through. And then of course, we can get into a little bit more detail, carrier by carrier in terms of, the accepted payment methods, if there's any sort of immigration issues that we need to try to overcome and things like that. So generally what I will tell an agent is that regardless of a person's age, I will be able to find you a product, whether or not that individual can afford the premiums because of, again, their health circumstances or something like that, is going to be a little bit different. But our single premium products, the simplified simple premium through National Guardian Life or Unity, that's designed for ages 0 all the way up to 99. And then the simplified issue products, those will obviously vary carrier to carrier, but generally speaking, you're looking between ages 40 up to age 85, but some carriers will actually go down to age 0 all the way up to age 85 as well. And then guaranteed issue, that one's, depending on which carrier, you're generally looking at 50 to 80. Great Western does go down to age 40 up to age 80. And with those guaranteed issues, the one thing that we will never be able to do, unfortunately, at this particular point in time, and we'll see what happens here as more carriers come into the final expense space, is a guaranteed issue for under the age of 40. So we can pretty much cover everybody with that exception, a true guaranteed issue for under the age of 40 for the most part, unless, of course, they went to the single premium route through NGL or Unity.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the programs that are available to help people with what they need to start, marketing programs that are available? We'll talk about that in a second, but
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So with the typically the first step when it comes to introducing an agent either to final expense or maybe they have a bit of experience, I always want to know what are your preferences in terms of submitting business. Are we working on a specific case, or are you entering in the market for the first time? So that way we can design a portfolio around, not only your strengths, but what you're going to be running out in the field, and trying to, instead of just contracting you with absolutely everything that we have to offer, and we offer quite a number of different carriers, really focusing in on just trying to tackle those 3 primary types of products. 1 or 2 simplified issue is generally speaking more than enough. 1 single premium that you can kind of have in your back pocket on those rare occasions that you'll come across those opportunities, and then 1, maybe 2 guaranteed issue. You don't necessarily have to have both, but again, just because of the ages and the way that those products work, and based on that alone, it might be beneficial to have more than 1. And then, of course, with regards to the overall marketing that we offer, we do have all of the tools for you to be successful when it comes to creating online posts that have gone through our various compliance departments and legal teams, as well as being approved by the carriers. We don't have anything necessarily carrier specific unless the carrier has already provided that when it comes to posting things online through social media, but we do have more generic and basic ones that you can customize and curtail yourself. With Legacy Safeguard, of course, there's a number of different marketing materials that we have there. We do have, of course, for the agents who, I believe a majority of the agents on today's call are more in the Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement market. And for those who are in the Advantage arena, you spend the next, couple of months leading up to the open enrollment period, getting all your certifications, training. It's a great time to get your contracting knocked out of the way. And during the time of which you're focused on AEP, that's what we really want your attention to be on. But you want in the back of your mind to also be thinking about, who are you actually sitting down with? You've invested a lot of time, money, and effort into sitting down with these clients during the open enrollment period, but there's a heck of a lot of opportunity to also cross-sell some of your other products, whether that's, supplements, traditional life insurance like Kelly has, long-term, short-term care products as well. And the postseason game plan really helps you navigate and understand the opportunity that's already in front of you and be able to expand on that. Actually, our CEO, Brian Adams, had written a book a number of years ago called The Postseason Game Plan. And it's a Medicare agent's guide to successfully advancing through the Medicare season and into the postseason to be able to offer some of those final expense products specifically, but also regular life insurance, long-term, short-term care products, ancillary health products as well. Now, one thing that I always...
Some of this, yeah. Yep, I'm sorry, Yanni, I talked over you again. Part of this, I want to make certain that folks see the detail, and a lot of it's logical, but I think this is an important question. It goes back to some of the things we talked about before. If you don't ask, you don't get kissed.
Right.
What's LIMRA?
Absolutely. Yeah, and one of the things that we came across when we were developing this sort of, again, this how-to guide and simple laid out plan for your success is, 78% of the shoppers with a previous relationship with their agent will actually buy life insurance when it's presented to them. But the key thing is presenting it to them. It has to be something that you initiate. Not a lot of folks are going to come outright and say, hey, oh, by the way, I haven't taken care of my final expenses. Can you help with that? One additional, not necessarily stat, but just reality of existence is 100% of our clients are going to pass away. And each one of those individuals is going to purchase some type of final expense product. Now, it's a matter of whether they do that with you today when they're the youngest and hopefully that they're healthiest for pennies on the dollar, or to do it through the competition, through another agent. They may even go directly to the funeral home. And then in those rare instances where they choose to do nothing, at some point in time when that time comes for them, their family's going to be stuck with the bill, and they'll end up having to go directly to the funeral home. So again, 100% of your clients are going to purchase these one of these types of products. It's just a matter of from whom they're going to do it through, and hopefully it'll be through you and through Premier.
Awesome.
And so as this is loading up here, one of the things that we recommend agents who are working during the open enrollment period is just to take some time and think about who it is that you're actually sitting down with, and who might be the right type of candidate to talk about final expenses. First and foremost, hey, are they 65 or older? Well, yeah, they are, obviously. Do they have kids or grandkids? Because remember, and I think we've alluded to this on other webinar presentations, is that the insurance that we buy today the life insurance that we buy isn't necessarily for us, it's for those that we leave behind. So do they have kids? Do they have grandchildren? Do they seem like the type of individuals who want to plan ahead and who like to be prepared for things? Are they the type of person who wants to be remembered long after they're gone? And again, final expenses, the postseason game plan, all of the different marketing and support tools that we have in place are designed to help you not only answer that, but to also address the actual need. And I think that once you get into the process of thinking about, hey, how can we bring this up in the conversation, and you start utilizing the tools that we provided, it becomes much, much easier for you to do that.
Awesome. So the Legacy Safeguard program, can you give us a very brief overview as to what's available with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in brief, Legacy Safeguard should be thought of somewhat like a coin. So on one side of that coin, you have a full turnkey sales and marketing system that's designed by agents for agents to help them be successful in selling final expense. On the other side of that coin is a series of services that you can provide to your clients at no cost to your customers, things that are going to help them with their legacy planning, their end-of-life planning, providing assistance to them, support for survivors, estate planning support, and even the opportunity to be celebrating life events, because your clients are here today, so that we wanted to give them a number of different things that we can that they can take advantage right out of the gate once they become a member. For those who aren't aware, talking about Legacy Safeguard, maybe final expense in general might be a little bit confusing. It might be a little bit intimidating, but it doesn't add much time to the conversations that you're having every day, and to help navigate that presentation smoothly and seamlessly from either cross-marketing standpoint or presenting final expense for the first time. We have developed a comprehensive marketing guide for Legacy Safeguard, which will take you basically from steps A through Z, how to successfully do that. We've developed an online tool for you to upload and download, marketing materials that can be customized, get some online training, be able to get additional marketing pieces and various sales tools through that system. And of course, in terms of additional training, we've got a ton of information that is constantly put up on our YouTube page as well.
Awesome. And I thank you for that, Yanni. I think it's an opportunity for us now, particularly if we're talking as a Medicare agent, we're gathering information anyway. This is another question that it doesn't fit on the scope of appointment, so you would have to have a second appointment, but you'd want to prepare.
Yes.
So it's a piece that can be helpful for you in that regard. And thank you for that, Yanni. We'll have Yanni's extension coming up in just a bit as well to make certain that we have all the contact information that's needed to access Yanni's experience and help in this area. Thank you, Yanni. So finally, we're getting into some of the annuity section, and we have Shay with us today. And Shay, I constantly mispronounce your last name, and I should be punishing myself for that. But can you come on and tell us a little bit about your area of expertise and speak to some of the carriers that we have in the annuity field?
Absolutely. Thank you, John. And you do find my last name is pronounced Treptow, but it's mispronounced a lot, and I take no offense to it. It is what it is. It's all good. We work with a wide variety of carriers, as you can see here on the screen. We have ages from 0 up to 100, actually. I know a lot of individuals think that annuities cut off at age 80, 85, 90. That is pretty typical. However, we do have one carrier that will go up to age 100. And a lot of times at that older ages, what those clients are trying to do is just let their money grow tax deferred, send it on to a beneficiary. That is their primary goal at that point, and we can assist with that. One of the most common questions, John, and everyone that we get is, how do we talk about annuities? And here's what I will tell every one of my agents that I talk to on the phone. The hardest part is already done if you have a portfolio of clients. Simply building the relationship is the hardest part. If they're already trusting you with their Medicare Supplement or their long-term care or their life insurance, take time. Whether you want to give them a call, I've actually had agents compose a letter and just send a message or reach out to them and say, I appreciate your business. It's a privilege to be your agent. By the way, did you know that I can help you with life, health, long-term care, and annuities? And a lot of time when they see annuities, that will start to engage them more with you as to, well, what is an annuity? What can I do? And what we're seeing right now more so than ever is, unfortunately, the pandemic brought a lot of job loss, a lot of job changes. So there's a lot of money sitting out stagnant, waiting for someone like you to become the asset protector of. And I will use that term because I feel that clients are more welcoming to an asset protector than, say, an advisor or an agent. And again, it's just they've trusted you with other parts of their life, savings essentially, and planning for their future. So if you can say that you want to help them grow their assets and protect their assets, it's an easy in to have this conversation. As you can see, we have lots and lots of carriers, and one thing that we have recently launched is our Annuity Resource Center. And this is a vital tool to a new agent or even our seasoned agents because there is a wealth of information out there. One of my favorite parts of this is there are multiple training videos, and those videos are something that you can watch at your convenience. You don't have to do it at any special time. I guess maybe that's not in here, but once you click on the Annuity Resource Center on the second slide there, you can kind of see videos with the little triangles there, and then it'll say load more videos. That's where all those training videos are. There is also a huge part of annuities is going to be the financial inventory and the confidential needs analysis form, which is on our next slide here. Every client that wants to put away money for retirement, every company is going to require suitability be completed. And I know that agents will groan about it. And what my response to that is the reason being is the companies set up a surrender charge for every annuity, whether it's a 2-year or it's a 10-year product. There's going to be a surrender charge, and they don't want the clients penalized for accessing their funds should they need. So that's what this confidential needs analysis is going to kind of help you grasp is figuring out, what, are they going to need money? Do they have enough liquid assets? What's their net worth? That's going to really help figure out what is the best for that particular client. We have the traditional fixed or multi-year guarantee annuities where it's a set fixed rate for X number of years. You're guaranteed that rate. There may be liquidity, there may not be liquidity. Again, it's all going to depend on the client's needs. We have the traditional SPIA, the single premium immediate annuity, where your client will put in a lump sum of money and receive a payment, whether it's monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annually. That can be for a certain number of years. It can be for a life-only option. It can be life with a period, certain number of years. Probably the most popular ones that everybody hears about are indexed annuities. They are a great accumulation play as well as a great income play. If your client's looking for income from whatever amount of funds they have, whether it's coming from a retirement or sale of property, whatever, we can work with the qualified and the non-qualifieds. We can, some of the indexed annuities with the income riders, you can turn income on within 30 days after issue. Some you have to let grow and accumulate for X number of years. Again, that's going to depend on your client's needs and desires as to which product we may talk about or, what direction we may try to steer you to for your client. With the Annuity Resource Center, there's some really nice quad-fold brochures that you can personalize right there where it says logo. They can actually put your business logo, your picture, all of your name, address, phone number, email. They can put all of that information right there. And if that's something you're interested in, we can actually offer you, I want to say it's 20 free ones, and then there can be a fee for them, but that's something if you reach out, I'm more than happy to help you get you a few going for free at least. And then if you're finding value in them and it's producing business, we can look at getting more and talk about other sales tactics. You can always do ask a specialist. And again, it's going to want your name, email, phone number. Then it's going to want your client's information as to what is going, what maybe you're looking for, what your client's looking for. We have lots and lots of resources there, lots of products, lots of options. One thing that we don't have in this presentation, but I will mention is we do have the annuity rate watch system, which if you are a licensed agent with Premier, you will get access for. We give you that. We take care of your subscription. You can plug in your client's name, age, premium when they want income, and it will automatically calculate and compare all of the different carriers so you can see who's on top, who's not. So we have a lot of tools available. It can seem very overwhelming, but we are here to help you. Feel free to give myself a call. Shad's also here if I'm tied up. Either one of us can definitely help you out. Here's the training videos too that I mentioned earlier. This is just some of them, but you can see there's the Annuities 101, the 7 benefits of fixed indexed annuities. There's a live in-home presentation. There's just a number of different videos out there, and we are continuing to add new videos to it. It started out with 3, and I think it's up over 27 now. So definitely check back there as you're utilizing that, because we're always updating it and creating more resources and tools for you to have at your fingertips. Talking a little bit about training, I will tell you, if you are interested in annuities, it is very important to know that you have to have your life and health license. Every carrier will require you to have product carrier specific training completed upon getting contracted. They will also require you to have anti-money laundering training completed. That is a course that is required every 2 years. Some carriers will have, such as American Equity, they do require their very own anti-money laundering training. And then there's also state compliant NAIC compliance training. Most states are 4 hours. There is a lot of changes with everything in today's society, that some are adding an additional 1 hour, some are adding an additional 4 hour. That's something we can direct you to websites such as reged.com or webce.com. There's a number of educational resources out on the website that we can help you to. I try to keep everyone as streamlined as possible using one training platform. Sometimes that's not always possible, but we definitely do our best to help with that, just as some more training that's required to sell annuities. Marketing Boost is something through our Annuity Resource Center where you can go in, and as long as you have a client database, you can send out these e-blasts to your clients to try to draw interest into the business that way too. There's lots of different ones. Those are also always changing and updating as well. Then there's the Annuity Hub. It's just kind of trying to help you narrow down questions to ask your clients as to, what is their primary objective for an annuity. Is it lifetime income? Is it safe growth? Is it to create a legacy? Is it long-term care? There's lots of options. I will mention, seeing the long-term care, some of our indexed annuities with the income riders do have a income doubler, we call it, to where if the client is unable to perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, that income will double for up to 5 years. After 5 years, it does drop back down. The beautiful thing is, though, with annuities, there is 0 underwriting. They just have to select that income rider at the time of issue.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ashay. And I'm the one that
Absolutely.
goes Chateau instead of Chateau, and I apologize for that all the time. I don't know why.
You're good.
But I think this is all part of a process that gives us a portfolio that addresses the audience we come into most frequently. And so what I'd like to do is close out finally. Some of you are going, gee, it took you forever to get to Shay. What are you doing now, John? Well, these are some of the things that you can get by working these different programs through Premier Marketing. And it includes the ability for you to do a lot of your contracting electronically. You'll notice that most of the carriers have gone to an electronic application process. Multiple reasons for that. Obviously, it does some things quicker, cleaner. When I was a regional 4 carrier for special needs plans, over 80% of our applications were pended. This was a while ago, where everything was still paper because they couldn't read our handwriting. But this allows you to establish an agent profile, store your errors and admissions, answer a lot of the questions that you commonly have on contracts, and do some things electronically. Helps you a great deal in speeding up the process. There are certain carriers that don't participate, and there are certain carriers where we'll use their direct electronic contracting to do it. But this is a great tool for you to have at your disposal. And everyone's mentioned errors and admissions coverage. It's pretty much a requirement across the board for insurance products. This program enables you to purchase discounted errors and admission as a qualified agent. What makes you a qualified agent? You got a contract with us, but you own this policy. So it's not like being added to a blanket E&O policy for one product or another, and then you worry about the rest. This covers you across the board with carriers, regardless of whom you're contracting through. And that includes mutual funds and variable products, which aren't that easy to find this type of coverage a lot of times now. We also do help with the continuing education that's required for our licensing, and as Shay mentioned, for other portions of requirements by some of the different carriers. We do so through our relationship with WebCE, and as an agent, you can actually add to your own benefit package by enrolling in a modified guarantee issue DI policy, disability income policy, for yourself to grow your own benefit structure and make certain that that's in play for you, and you're paid a commission on a product you're offering yourself. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded, so have past presentations. So if you're interested in, oh gee, what did Katie say about that? One of those home care products? Well, there's probably a video specifically on that. And so we go across the board with product type, and marketing initiatives, different programs that can be helpful across the board. And you'll find in a lot of the community activity, varying your presentation is a great way for you to be able to access more of these centers of influence in your community by offering what is their hotspot. So we've got a ton of presentations that can help you in that area. In my part of the world, in the Medicare world, Medicare Center is a great program that's available without cost to any agent that contracts with us without cost. It's a universal login for 3 different quoting tools. It has a CRM there to help you manage and track your clients. You can then use that information throughout the year with a client-based opportunity to visit with them on other products throughout the selling periods. And it also gives you a means to take care of yourself compliantly. So sending out that electronic scope of appointment or accessing it through text, whatever it happens to be, then it allows you to use the tools such as Medicare app, Medicare Link, and CSG. They're powered by Connecture and Sunfire and CSG, and it gives you a way to then go in and do some of that cross-selling material that we talked about and access that information and store everything you need for, in the instance of the scope of appointments, that 10-year period, whether you sell them or not. A great way for you to go back and market the other programs then. And we do some really neat things on the cross-selling piece. So you'll have basically a video link that will enable you to kind of follow that fill in the gap scenario that I talked about earlier in the presentation. We also put a place on our website that puts together all the extras you get by selling different products across the board. In Medicare Advantage and PDP, the max comp is set by the government, so there's not a lot of incentives or trips that come into play, but there are for med subs. There are for life insurance programs, final expense, annuity products, and many of these enable you to qualify for premier incentive programs as well. And it gives you the opportunity then to not put all your eggs in one basket, draw from different lines, close the doors and windows to your client's house to other agents so they're yours. And we do so with an opportunity to put you in front of folks. There are certain programs you can cold call for. There are certain programs you can't. We have lists available, butted up a do not call at reasonable rates or without cost to you, depending upon our relationship, and enable you to, well, utilize that relationship you have with Ma Bell and get on there and smile and dial. We do also have the different community-based programs, including retail marketing. We're in the 3rd round of selections for Walmart stores. Many of the carriers in the Medicare world are putting out their own retail programs as well. We have the information that's there for you to access these type of programs and speak to the opportunities they present, but also how to work with faith-based organizations, providers, other centers of influence in the community for products across the board. We have presentations on Social Security, how to, when and how to access that, explanations of the different programs in the Medicare world, speaking to final expense and legacy safeguard, talking about how annuity programs properly set into play can really help you as an individual. The same thing with long-term, short-term care products. You'll see some carriers generate prospects for the agents as well. We see this mostly in the Medicare Advantage and PDP world, where it's a symbiotic relationship. You work with them, they'll work with you. We do offer internet leads and direct mail support, and we have a program that helps you maximize your referrals as well. A link to the explanation of that will come to you as part of the follow-up as well. And that mail program, well, it's deeply discounted based on production, but you have one that's available for the health products and one that's available for final expense products. So you can do things consistently and stay in front of folks on a regular basis, cut the hills and valleys, kind of level that out. And keep in mind, direct mail is much like an exercise program. You do it once, you kind of feel the pain, you don't see a lot of the benefit. You do it consistently, that's where you see the results. We work through preferred lead vendors in order to supply these programs because we want to make certain that everything is done compliantly. We want the maximum return on your mail, but we also want to make certain that we're doing so without getting any of us in hot water and do so appropriately. Each of these different lead vendors have CRM systems where you establish the mail campaign. As soon as the response comes back, it's accessible through those different CRMs that they offer. So this is a great way for you to make certain that you are doing things properly, but getting the most out of that investment, utilizing the referral system to maximize on those leads as well. This is actually kind of a little piece, as Yanni and I were discussing earlier, a little bit dated in certain areas, but it gives you an idea of how much mail you need to put out in order to see the people you want to through that type of program. And it gives you an idea of not just what it's going to cost, but what it's going to bring you. We do also have a couple of programs available that help you with direct mail response. So you're not directing the entire campaign. You're not paying the full amount up front, even with the support. It's a great way to plug some holes into a, gee, who do I talk to now? But it is a way for you to also make certain that you have people to speak with on an ongoing basis. These have never been touched by any other person, a call out for them. And you'll see that on any call list. Well, gee, I got calls from 4 agents today. I have a friend that was turning 65. She had 22 calls by 10 o'clock in the morning from insurance agents offering her their assistance on med subs. Good golly, Ms. Molly, that's cold calling at the best. But these are programs where people have raised their hand and they're looking for help in this area. No one's reached out to them yet. You have a great way of filling in prospects. And keep in mind the cost will vary a lot of times by product or by the area that you are marketing. That internet lead program is through Facebook. There's one set up for final expense and one for Medicare. Keep in mind this opens the discussion to all these other products that we spoke of earlier today. A great way for you to get involved, more of an immediate response. We live in a microwave society. Gotta have it now, gotta have it now. Sometimes patients help, but sometimes you need some things quickly. This can help you in that regard. And outside of working your prospects for referrals, one of the greatest source of prospects for you is engaging your BOB, your book of business, reaching out to them for referrals, soliciting that type of marketing assistance. And you'll find, once again, Pepe Le Pew, you're not going to get it unless you ask in most circumstances. We put these things all together. We run really long today. I apologize for you, but I kind of actually truncated some of the sections, and I apologize to my co-panelists for that, but it's all because we want your business. We're looking to be your full service agency. We have the contracts in play that can help you across the board, maximize your income, maximize the solutions for your clients. And we're asking you for referrals as well. So if you know of agents that we can help, send them our way. We'll treat them professionally and in the manner we wish to treat you as well. And we want to make certain that we put that out there for you. It's all part of an overall marketing plan. A couple of weeks ago, we presented on AEP 2022 planning. Well, implementing these other programs is part of that personal marketing plan, and it's something that you can do now. Most of these products aren't affected by lock-in. You can market them all year round. It's a question of if you want to do it. So as John Wayne says in the immortal movie, The Cowboys, slap some bacon in that biscuit, saddle up, let's ride, because we are burning daylight. This is something you can do now. So don't procrastinate. Let's get it in play and we'll discuss it. This is a listing of the folks that have talked to you today. It's all through our 800 number that'll pop up on the next slide, but these are the extensions that are available so you can access the wealth of knowledge that our folks have for you in assisting you to be as most proficient, effective, however you want to phrase it, in offering a full portfolio of products. I thank each of the panelists for coming on and helping with us today. You'll find that they have a vast repertoire of both products and knowledge that can help you across the board and address specific situations that you run into. And so we want to make certain that you have this information. It will be listed as part of the follow-up as well as to how you contact our organization as through this and directly to the people that have addressed their products with you here today. So you can respond in a number of ways. You can speak to us in response to the email that's going to come out when this recording updates. Since I've made it so long, it'll take a little while. But you can give us a call, 1-800-365-8208, and utilize those extensions. If you have a marketer you're working with, we'll put you in touch with them. If you haven't a relationship with us in these different areas, we'll make certain that you have that subject matter expert available to you. And of course, you can access us through our website at premiersmi.com. There are, as I mentioned, the videos posted on the website and on our YouTube channel as well that you can go back and review at your leisure and pick what you would like to do. I realize we took a lot of your time here today. I thank you for that investment of your most precious resource. I want to thank you as well for the relationship we have had in the past, if we have one, the business that we've done together. And for those of you that are considering expanding your scope of your offerings, I thank you for that opportunity as well. And so, checking the questions, I think we have everything covered, thankfully. I thank you again, and we look forward to speaking with you in the very near future. Until that time, I wish you good selling. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.